be pretty difficult to evict tenants.
Mm-hmm.
You could put yourself in a bad position as a landlord. And
As a landlord,
honestly,
I want to hear more about this, but even as a landlord, even as a person who owns a house, my uncle, oh my God, this is a true story. So my uncle is like, he's a little crazy though. Well, I'm saying that, but he's like super right, super freedom. Like loves guns. He's always been really, really big into guns, right? Well, he started dating this girl, and she was Hispanic. She was crazy. And anyway, how it happened was she was just like, oh, he's like, why don't you could come move in. So she moved in, and then she's just like, oh, do you know what? My daughter needs a place to stay. And then he's just like, well, I'm not trying to have you. And he's just like, all right, okay. So then the daughter moves in, but she didn't tell him that the daughter just had a daughter. So the daughter has like a 2-year-old kid. So now it's the girlfriend. Like this all happened really fast. And then he had it when she was just like, oh yeah, the boyfriend needs a place too. It was almost like it was planned out. Long story longer, he was just like, listen, everybody out, everybody get out. And she was like, you can't kick us out because we've been here for blah, blah, blah. So they called the cops. She was just like, oh, he threatened me, blah, 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 blah. Do you know he couldn't go back into his own house? She was able to get a restraining order on him, and he couldn't go into his own house for like 30 days or something like that. It was something like crazy. And I was like, oh my God, that is nuts.
that's just one example amongst many. But it can absolutely be a nightmare scenario. So I'm in Georgia now, and I had a tenant, older guy. He's harmless, but pain in the ass, but harmless. Anyway, he had invited some chick in his crib. I guess have a good time with. And I don't allow pets on my property. Of course, she came with a dog. Anyway, this next door neighbor, another tenant of mine, had locked herself out. So she called me. I came to unlock the door for her. And while I was there, he mentions to me the situation where this woman will not leave his apartment. I'm irate at this point, but I go and I attempt to talk to her, and she's just nasty, nasty human being. And so, all right, cool. End up calling 911. 911 operator informs me they had already been out to the house and there was nothing they could do. So I insisted that they send the cop out. So of course they sent the same cop that came previously, and he had already made up his mind how he was going to handle the situation. So he's like, "There's nothing you can do. It's a tenant landlord situation." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know this woman. I've never seen her in my life. I don't even have a lease for her. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I asked for a supervisor. He calls up this next officer. Next officer, they whispered whatever they whispered, and they're keeping the company line. And I'm like, yo, is this your supervisor? He's a more experienced cop. I said, respectfully, I asked for a supervisor. So it's all right, fine. So, I waited like another half an hour. And, older gentleman with, like accoutrements on his friggin' uniform, super friendly, just completely different, not surly, no attitude, extends his hand, greets me warmly, he listens, and he proceeds to call the on-duty district attorney. By this point, it's like 7:30, and they have, a hotline for the district attorney. And he puts the district attorney on speakerphone and goes through the scenario with him. The district attorney, I literally heard him say, because he was on speakerphone, said, "Get her the fuck out of that apartment." That's literally what he said. And, he told the other two officers who were still on scene to, you heard him, get out. And that was the worst part of the whole thing to me. It's one thing if you just don't want to do your job because you're unsure. but you've been given a directive by your supervising officer who, was explained the legal situation by the DA, and you have this whole nasty attitude about doing your job. It was like, they pissed me off beyond pissed off, but ultimately, obviously, she left. Now, had that been New York, I think it would have played out very differently. Very, very differently. And, I understand why a lot of people don't want to live in New York. They don't want to invest in New York. There's, an older gentleman who you can clearly see this guy pulled out a knife on him at an ATM, and the guy shot him. And it was self-defense. But they insisted that he go and serve time in jail for the gun charge. Because in New York, you can't not serve time for a gun charge. I really was hoping he had gotten a stay and this thing went to the Supreme Court. I was really hoping this would be the case to overturn New York's gun laws because it's such unmitigated bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. Anthony, where are you? Which state are you in?
Georgia now.
I see. Yeah, New York is stupid. Just they have grown to the extent that not knowing what's right, what's wrong.
You remember Plexico Burris, the wide receiver that played for the Giants?
That was a horrible situation. He only shot himself. He shot himself. The only person he shot, and he ended up having to go to jail.
Yeah. I think they're waiting for the right gun case to challenge in New York, because I was wondering why has this not been challenged to the Supreme Court, or why they have these strict gun laws. And I think it's something to do with they're waiting for the right case, the right type of case. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, they're so a case. My brother, he was in a relationship with this crazy Russian girl. She was like the hottest. She was so hot though. I'll even admit it. She was fine. I will give you I'm gonna PTR this bitch, okay? Because this bitch is still obsessed with my brother, okay? And but anyway, crazy Russian, and she was constantly calling the cops, and I was just like, no, honey. I was like, listen, we don't do that in my family, Liz. We do not. You do not call cops. I mean, like, this is me. I'm not, saying anything, but I was like, no, we don't do that. But it was only after the first, my brother called me. And he's like, hey, I'm getting arrested. And I'm like, what do you mean you're getting arrested? And he's just like, I got in a fight and I broke her oven. I broke the oven and she called the cops. They live together, by the way. She called the cops. The cops get out there and they were like, we're going to process this as domestic violence. And she's just like, no.
These aren't just numbers. Bus lines that carry working people across Chicago's south and west sides. I've ridden them. I've listened to families who just want a fair shot. For a decade in Congress,
show it. He still had it. He had a black eye, right? And she was just like, I don't want to press charges. And the cops were just like, it doesn't matter.
Just want a fair shot.
Here. And
these aren't just numbers. They're bus lines that carry working people across Chicago. These aren't just numbers. These aren't just... I don't want to speak directly to our city. I'm running for mayor, and my first priority is health, specifically the conditions we often overlook: sickle cell anemia and diabetes.
And he had to go through like all of this crap to get these. He had to get like this lawyer and pay like, I don't know, it was like $15K to get this stupid. They didn't want to.
Specifically, 18 years in a deep dish kitchen taught me what Chicago really runs on: hard work, patience, and a lot of tomato sauce.
So she still loves my brother, so she stalks my brother, okay? And my sister, she goes to get her taxes done by my sister. So my sister was just
like, City Hall, right? Coming up.
She was getting her taxes done.
You're really running for mayor?
Oh, she's pretty, whatever. And so anyway, my sister hooks them up, okay? The cop comes back to my sister like, she's just like, why? What happened? And she's just like, we went on a couple dates. The dates were good. I decided I wanted to, start to learn more about her when she's under the influence, because she doesn't,
It said cell phones were taken
out. So we decided to stay in and drink. And so she ended up drinking. It's always the alcohol, boy. She started to drink, and so all of a sudden, she comes out and she's just like, "You took my lighter." And he's
Hello,
like,
I'm John Kitover. I'm running for mayor because our city deserves leadership that listens. We can make our neighborhood safer, keep taxes fair, and bring good.
Lighter. So he gets up and he's like looking around for her lighter. He finds her lighter in the bathroom, and she goes, and he's just like, "Here's your lighter. You left it on the bathroom." She slapped him in the face. He was a cop. She slapped him in the face. He left. And
Hi, Chicago. I'm John Kitover. I'm running for mayor February 23rd, 2027. Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, you'll have...
Your sister left because she could do better. That's the great thing.
No, that wasn't my sister. This was a crazy girlfriend my brother was dating, but
well, she could do better anyway.
Here, I want to show you how hot she was.
Yeah, let's see how hot this chick is.
By the way, no matter how she looks, there's always a reason why she's still single. It's just a true fact of life.
It's what's on the inside that counts.
100%.
Unless you're a skadunkunk and you're an awful, horrible, terrible person. If you're violent, though, sometimes you just can't really look past that, because when a chick drinks, if she gets violent, and you see cop videos. You see cop videos all the time of women in prison or men in prison, and they're talking about domestic violence, and it's usually the women who punch the guy and get liquored up, and the guy, doesn't want to punch back because he doesn't want to, catch a charge, but he's being attacked. And we have a lot of hyper aggressive women in society who don't know how to do meditation, don't know how to do yoga, don't know how to relax, read a book, de-escalate. And they're just basically royalty, aka queens, who, think their shit don't stink. But, I've never been in a relationship with a woman who got violent. And if I was, I would definitely, get out of that situation. I mean, that is not something I could tolerate in my life.
Strength is so true. One time I had an ex-missus that she was so aggressive. One day we were having a party and my sister was there. My sister, to me, she's the best. She's just fantastic. She's just the best, And we were there and we were eating lunch, And my sister was like to her, "Oh, I don't agree with you." And she threw a fucking ball at her. And I was like, "We're done. I'm done. Get the fuck out of here. You're done in my entire life." Because, as men, guys, I'm sure you have sisters, but if you have a great sister, they're just unbelievable, When you have an amazing sister, and this bitch was assaulting my sister, and I was like, you know what? If we just leave, I will try to convince my sister not to press charges against you. You know what my sister told me? Fuck that bitch. I'm gonna throw the book at her, and she did, because she's the way she is. You know what I mean? But you have great women. When you have great women in your life is just better. Good people, It's just fantastic.
So I was gonna mention.
As far as the title of the room goes, I think that obviously there would be exceptions to whether or not it was the right choice. If it led to World War III and there was a nuclear war, then the answer would be obvious. From my perspective, hold on, let me see.
PTR
Wow.
gentlemen, I need a scale
Wow,
of
wow,
one
wow,
to
wow. You were lying, man.
He looks like Eric Trump's wife, Laura Trump.
You were not lying, man.
Yeah, she's 1 to 10.
You were not lying. Your brother could work that out, girl.
He tried for a while, and then finally he realized, like, yeah, no.
Your brother could work that
No,
out.
Anthony, he got a new girl, okay? She just got her PhD, and she is, I wouldn't say okay, I won't tell him this, but if she's like a 10, I think his girl now with a PhD, she's like a 9. Like, very, very close. Like, very close. But she was, yeah.
Nah, PhD doesn't do anything for a woman.
The PhD doesn't fucking matter. Nobody cares about it.
In mathematics.
The PhD doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Here's what's up. The PhD does help. The PhD confirms a certain level of academic rigor, and it implies strongly correlates with high intelligence. And if you're going to consider her as a long-term mate, someone to be the mother of your children, those traits could bode well for your children, your progeny.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, if it's in mathematics, that's true.
Yeah. But, back to the title of the room, I 100% agree with Trump's decision to do what he did. And I'm tired of feckless, scared people, finding every excuse under the sun to criticize his decision. It's their right as American citizens to criticize it, but, they just expose themselves as being weak and scared of their own shadows. And, like, oh, what about the terrorist cells and, what's going to happen? And it's just nonsense, man. Like, right now, we have a world of possibilities. Could things go wrong? Sure, they could. But I'm happy he made the choice that he did.
You're happy that Trump made the choice to go to Iran, you mean?
Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. Somebody said today to me, Samoa, I don't know if you guys know who Samoa is. I'll just call him out. He was just like, Bima, you're so uninformed, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, there's a possibility. Like, I could be uninformed. I mean, like, I think that's what I admit is my greatest insecurity. Because, I mean, like, I'm not given sufficient evidence for me to feel like it's a good decision or not. And anyway, he was just like, even despite, he's like, your hate for Israel, which I don't have any hate for the people, but the country that's true. I'm very frustrated with I'm going to call it a regime over there, okay? He's just like, you're blinded by that, and you have a bias, and you've had many Iranians tell you, giving you all of this evidence, and despite it, you still don't think it was a good idea. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what? And I was like, now let me think. What have Iranians told me? And it's the same exact things that I've heard over and over and over. And these are the things. One, they tell me the regime is horrible, and they chant death to America, and they want you all dead. Okay, that's 1. 2, they kill their people by the tens of thousands. Okay? And 3, they were, what is the third? I don't know, but there was another one, right? And I was thinking to myself, that's the same thing that Trump said when he freaking went out of the JCOA, or whatever it was called, the treaty with Iran. All of that was in there. They're developing ballistic missiles. They're enriching their uranium. They shout death to America. They kill those. There's nothing new that I haven't heard that Trump hasn't said. And I was just like, that's so funny. So no, I'm not given any evidence So what's my point, Bima? What the fuck is my point with my loud mouth? My point is how much of what we're being told is the actual truth versus programming. Oh, John Kitover would love this. Neurolinguistic programming from just people copying and reiterating what they've heard from somebody else. Like episodic. Oh no, that's okay. And then the last thing I'll say is, what do you require for evidence to know it when something is objectively true or not? And that's where I'm at right now. Thank you, Anthony.
So this idea of objective truth, good luck with that standard. If that's your standard, Bima, God bless you. All right. We are constantly being spun. Everything is propaganda, and we're constantly being spun. All right. That's objective truth be damned. Good luck. Now, as it relates to whether or not specific things are lies, like this really makes me scratch my head. Let's go back to when the United States went to war with Iraq. The claim was that they had weapons of mass destruction, or they had, whatever, chemical weapons, whatever the claim was, right? How difficult would it have been for, like, the alphabet boys, CIA, NSA, whoever, to have an operative plant that stuff in Iraq and say, hey, we found it, we told you, as opposed to acknowledging, hey, we never found it. How difficult would it be for, if this is all about lies, right? In the age of artificial intelligence, how difficult would it be for operatives between Israel and the United States to plant fake evidence on Iran? If it's all about lying to the American people.
That would have been impossible when it comes to nuclear material, because every nuclear material could be traced. So if they did that, if they did bring it in the country, they could trace the particles.
Let's go. As it relates to the nuclear material, there is, like, uncontested evidence that Iran had a certain amount of nuclear material that had been lost track of after the 12-day war. No one knew where it was. And it was enriched uranium to the point where it could be weaponized. Ideally, they would have enriched it even more. I think it was at 60-something%. They wanted to get it to 80-something%, but 60-something% would have been the threshold. They also had ballistic missiles. So the potential for them to create some kind of dirty type bomb was already there. It was there. All right. Also, they were increasing their capacity to build ballistic missiles. They were drastically increasing. So, like, this guy had been in power for decades. The United States, we have these 4-year cycles called elections. All Iran wanted to do was wait us out. This was the last opportunity that the United States had. This was it. This was our last best opportunity. No one wants to see a nuclear powered Iran.
Point of order, moderator, point of order. I hate to interrupt, but after you're finished, Anthony, I'd like to go next. Thank you very low.
Oh my God, John is here. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, so ultimately, Beeman, to wrap it up in a bow, objective reality, objective truth, it's a fanciful term, but I don't know how realistic it is. And you combine that with the fact that if our government and the government we're working with wanted to fake stuff, they certainly could. They could control the narrative. They can control the evidence. They can make anything appear however they want. The technology is that sophisticated, despite what some people may think. So, given the limited knowledge that I have, I agree with Trump's decision to attack Iran.
So, this past 26 years, Israel has benefited greatly from the United States military intervention overseas. Saddam was building one of the largest artillery pieces in human history to launch artillery shells at Israel. And everybody knows how he did business, with his meeting where he didn't have to say you're fired. He just lit a cigar, said their names, and then they were let out and executed. I didn't know that we had this huge legacy of, basically being at war with Iran. And I guess, since the Ayatollah taking over and the hostages and the embassy, we have been, and they've been kind of lurking in the shadow. But even behind Iran, we have Russia. And Russia is providing the intelligence and the targeting and selling plenty of weapon systems to Iran. So all.
And China.
And China as well. So all I want to say basically is that the people on here who can't accept, basically Pepe and others. Pepe is so vulgar and so crude and so obnoxious the way he throws the J word around, Jew word around. It is so obnoxious. But the truth is the real politic is always the real truth. Kamala lost because thank God Donnie, it was like a miracle. He didn't know if he was going to win for sure. But what I'm trying to say is when you get to this level, it's not 2-face, 3-face, 4, it's like 5-face, 6-face, 7-face, 8-face, 9-face, 10-face. And a lot of this is legacy shit with George H.W. Bush. And, we are a republic, or this representative republic, constitutional and a democracy, so to speak. But see, because of AIPAC and because of American Jewry and Israeli Jewry and European Jewry, etc., and the influence via AIPAC, if you have the money, well, guess what? You buy influence in this country because we are a republic, and the highest bidder wins. So when Nigeria comes to the table with all their oil, or Spain, or Italy, or Germany, or any country starts lobbying in an organized fashion, in the way that AIPAC does it, and they want to compete with that influence, well, guess what? They have that opportunity to compete in the marketplace of influence. And so what we have here on Clubhouse is a bunch of anti-Semitic, Jew-hating, racist, neo-Nazi scumbags like Pepe, who probably hasn't made love to a woman in years, which he's admitted, doesn't go to the gym in years. But it's neither here nor there to insult people. It's really just pointing out that they project the way they want to see the world, but they just can't see the real politic of the situation because maybe it's too much information for them to essentially process it all, because they're living either in a specific time period and they're not able to take 100 years of history and smush it into their brain. I don't know. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the Ayatollah and the entire executive command of this massive country with all these people have been taken out, and Trump had the balls in a Godfather-style fashion at 2:30 in the morning coming online saying, surprise everybody, wake up and take control of your government. Like, you gotta understand that this is like a chess game. It's not tic-tac-toe or checkers. It is a gotcha moment, and this is how you win wars, by the element of surprise, and it's either kill or be killed. And Israel plays a vital linchpin or a bridge, basically, to the middle kingdom, or the Middle East, for our sake, and the energy is that important. And our relationship with the Saudis goes back a long time. Aramco was a joint venture corporation, and we train with the Saudis. We prepare the Saudis for war, and we're friendly with the Saudis because we know who butters our bread. And unfortunately, the Iranians, they didn't buy enough influence to overcome what came their way. And they could have, maybe, if they didn't have their heads so far up their ass, and maybe they wanted to spend a little more time getting to know us, and maybe making sure that this shit didn't go down for them. They got it when they had the CIA boy Obama and Brennan and others there who were willing to arm them, fund them, promote them, And, thank God we have Donald Trump, but there's no going back anymore. Pandora's box has been opened, and because of 9/11 and this War Powers Act, etc., Trump feels that he can do this because Bush did it. Everybody else seems to do it. Maybe they had a vote, but either way, all I'm trying to say is that the real politic is just not pretty. It's not nice. You're not going to like it. It's really two-faced, three-faced, five-faced. It's a lot of history in there, compressed. And unfortunately, because of freedom of speech, you have to listen to these vulgar, profane, disgusting people who want to make racist, slanderous remarks against a bunch of people who have nothing to even do with politics. So it's all inflation. If it's not Jews, there's no news, and that's how people roll because they're fucking losers. And that's my opinion of losers like that. Hope you're not one of those losers, because that would make you stupid.
I think Trump is playing a role. I don't think he's as much of a racist and anti-Semite and white man, although I don't think he's as much as he pretends to be. I think there's a core of reachability in him. I've come to, I don't know, he and I have reached a sort of an understanding, I feel like. Look, it takes a lot of years, I guess we call you John or Strength here, what should we call you? It takes a lot of years to grow your understanding of geopolitics, of global politics. And you have to be able to understand like the on the ground as well as the 30,000 foot view. So we have to understand that China is growing rapidly, militarily and economically, and we have to sort of stake our claim and defend ourselves preemptively against China. Venezuela was a Chinese asset as well as being an Iranian asset. Iran is a Chinese asset, and we had to get it into our camp. That's what we had to do. It's just like the Cold War, and I should point out that we won the Cold War because of our American approach to things. And, you can call it imperialism if you want, but what we really do is we defend freedom. It's like the opposite of imperialism. We conquered Japan. We didn't make them have an American government. Japan had its own government. We conquered Germany. We cut it in half. We didn't make them have an American government. They're Europeans. We support places like South Korea. We beat back the North Koreans and we let South Korea be South Korea. We let Singapore be Singapore. We don't force religion on them. We don't hang them and slaughter them by the millions. So we're a good global cop, and that's our job. If we like all of our abundance, I mean, we're the richest society, I think, in human history. You could find, Scandinavia, parts of Scandinavia do well because they don't have to spend money on defense, and they have oil in their little pocket, and they're all white people, by the way. They might have a slightly, I don't know what to say, a slightly more stable or elevated lifestyle. They have, subsidized health care or whatever. But in terms of overall, our culture, our film, our tech culture, our innovation, our cars, our wide open spaces, there's nothing like America. And we probably don't appreciate it sufficiently. We are living like in blessed biblical times.
One thing, I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to add in kind of a point you just stated that and it kind of made me think of a personal sense I have. One thing I hate is when like people compare mono-ethnic states or ethno states to like diverse places like America. I'm like, you can't do that without using nuance. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be like, oh, like you just mentioned, what was it, like Finland or something? What did you say? It was one of them countries that's like super white, majority white.
Well, I said Scandinavia, but Norway, Sweden, Finland.
The whitest of white places like
Yeah,
where everyone's white, and they'll be like, see how they doing over there? Why can't we do that? I'm like, well, our society gonna be worried about other shit because we have a million different tribes, so to speak, fighting for top spot. So we can't focus on certain shit like they can. You dig what I'm saying? Like that, yeah. And people ignore that very important thing all the time, but they claim to be so smart and just skip over that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, actually, they're not doing that well either, and that's what they do is based on what we say for them. So because they didn't have to spend on their defenses. Basically, we're being their guard dogs, and so you can save those expenses, very expensive expenses, to do what to have long vacations and all the welfares. Yeah, they're riding on our coattails.
And I was gonna say this too.
Just 1 second, bro. I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, Hanson, you're absolutely right. They're absolutely riding on our coattails. They would have been bankrupt a long time. I want you to go look at the GDP of Germany, the big dog in the European Union. Look at it, post-COVID. It's horrendous. I want you, people want to talk about Trump's approval rating. I want you to go look up the various European leaders and their approval ratings, how low they are, and how they've created these societies that's untenable with their super unionization and all of this nonsense, man. It's just like,
and going on vacation half of the year.
Half the year, man. Half the year, bro. And it's like, ultimately the United States has subsidized them, and F NATO. We don't even need NATO. Honestly, like, I understand there's some people here that can't stand Israel, but Israel's been a reliable ally. People don't even understand the amount of intelligence that we get from Israel, the amount of stuff that Israel, puts us like, the amount of information that they provide us with that's critical to us maintaining our freedom and staying ahead. But it's okay though. The people that need to know. Obama didn't appreciate Israel, and we see how that worked out for him. Friggin' Kamala, she wanted to minimize Israel and wanted to go with the sisterhood and what's her name? The Spanish, the Puerto Rican chick from what's the AOC? AOC and Ilhan
and Montgomery.
White supremacy so bad with their white husband.
It's just a mess, man. It's just a mess. I will ride with Israel 110%. I have no issue with them whatsoever. I get it. One man's freedom fighters, another man's terrorists, all that's good, but I know what side I'm on. I know where my bread is buttered. I'm good.
And why do people act like this, right? I'm gonna just throw this. Isn't Kamala's husband Jewish?
He's one of those fake, self-hating Jews. It's okay.
Like, why do people act like that? But never mind. Before I don't even want to go down that road, but I was gonna say, yeah, man. So another thing that kind of like, first off, Anthony, I be in a lot of rooms you be in, bro. You be speaking that real. I just want to add that in there, man. Like, I'm gonna give you your props ahead of time, bro. Like, straight up. So, but back to what I was gonna say. One thing I hate is when Americans will be like, "Why are we going around the world policing?" And to myself, I'm thinking like, would y'all rather it be someone else? Like, if my team is leading the fucking playoffs and is the number one seed, why the fuck would I be mad? Should we be the sixth seed? Should we be like, I don't get that. If your team is number one, shut up and just like my thing is this: people don't view the world for what it is. They like the world is this, bro. Everyone's playing for keeps. If your team has that top spot where people envy them, like it is what it is because somebody's gonna do it. Like it's never gonna be just all the world we're gonna stay equal and we're gonna come to this decisions and This ain't Captain Planet, bro. Everyone, if it's not us, it's gonna be somebody else.
But you know, right, like, I remember October 7th, the day October 7th happened, I was like, this is gonna end up with Iran getting fucking flattened. Because when October 7th happened, and all those retard and the scumbags were celebrating across the world, and they were saying in Australia, like, acid juice and everything else, and I was like, this is gonna end up with Iran getting fucking flattened. I have never seen a Jew in 2,000 years. I am so glad that I'm alive to see the Jewish winning again. Benjamin Netanyahu is like the modern day King fucking David. He's deleting enemies and he's deleting terrorists like a Jew hasn't deleted them for like 2,000 years. Bro, this motherfucker was like, oh, Hezbollah dead. Iran fucking dead. He was just like, all the enemies there. Yahya didn't go out fucking dead. He's killing all his enemies. This guy is like a modern day, like, fucking fucks. I don't know what even to call it. He's winning left and right. And this is why people don't like it. They've never seen Joshua winning. Bibi is winning. And the way he's killing that terrorism and deleting the enemies is so grateful. And right now in Iran, all the Iranian enemies are all dead. You elected new supreme leader, dead. You elect a new leader in Hezbollah, fucking dead. You elect a new leader in the West Bank, fucking dead. You elect a new leader in Gaza, dead. You elect a new leader in fucking wherever you elect them, fucking dead. It's terrible. But Bibi is killing all his enemies. And I'm here for it because he's enemies are my enemies. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It won't be for long if he continues doing.
Yeah, it will be for long.
There's a shift.
What are they gonna do? Are they gonna say,
It'll be till we're finished.
I didn't interrupt you. Do you have to talk right now? Well, okay, go ahead. You finish.
Actually, you spoke over a clip, but nobody cared.
What,
No, I
what
didn't. There was
You
a
did.
silence, Elmer. No.
No?
I
Okay.
didn't even say anything, love. BP is on a generational run. Like King David was doing a generational run. Like this motherfucker, he attacked him on Ramadan. He attacked him on Purim. And you know why he attacked him on Ramadan? Because these sons of bitches attacked him on Stimra Torah. You know? They were like, oh, you can't attack them on, like, Ramadan. I'm like, oh, what do you think October 7th was? Stimra Torah. They attacked them on the same day. I am so glad that the Jewish people are finally winning after 2,500 years. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. All the haters can cry about it. I don't give a damn. But it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the IDF is killing the enemies. It's killing all the enemies. It's a great, great thing. And the United States with them, armed with them. Everybody's with them. And, yeah, people, haters of Jews, haters of Israel can cry about it. The Iranian people love it. You see the Iranian people doing the YMCA dance all over the streets. The Iranian people love it too.
I want to say one thing.
And it's a great, great thing.
So the people of Sri Lanka are actually trapped. You know? So
they attacked Israel on Simchat Torah. So when people say, oh, you know, you attacked them on Ramadan, fuck Ramadan. You attacked them on Simchat Torah.
Pass the mic around real quick. Let's get some other insights. You know what I'm saying? Was it L? Was you talking?
No, I just think that it's check until Austin.
Mr. HHH. Mr. HHH. Okay, check.
Check. Hang on. Listen to something that I have to say as well. So as much as other parts of the country and Iranians are everywhere are celebrating, I actually sent a room to Sarah because I was not able to track all of the conversations these guys were talking. And of course, these are IRGC people, right? They were saying how we need to lock down the city and have nobody escape from the city. So the people what's exactly happening now is they've blocked. So people in Tehran who want to be safe and get out of the bombing area, they're not able to do that and these guys are, anybody who's trying to escape are shooting the people and killing more people. So that's what is exactly happening now in Iran. So people who want to escape from Tehran and want to be safe, the IRGC or whatever the opposition government who wants to have the control of the regime, they were actually hosting a room. I invited Sarah to join and actually listen, because I mean I understand Farsi a little bit, but I don't understand too much. But they were saying something about how we need to lock down, how we can stay intact and protect their people, and anybody who is opposing them, we need to fucking do some shit like that, dude. It's not a success. I mean, it can be a success to the United States and Israel because we're accomplishing what we want, but at the same time, there are a lot of people dying over there who doesn't deserve to be dead. You know, that's all I'm saying, bro. It's not a time for celebration. There are a lot of people dying. People who don't want to be part of this are dying. And I feel bad about it.
It's been 47 years of pure terrorism and death and everything else like that. People are getting out of the way. They've told them that when they will realize to come out and protest and everything, it's when the Shah, His Majesty the King, will tell them to go out and protest. But right now, it's like, it's not a time to do it. It's terrible, you know?
No, it's not about protesting, bro. It's not about protesting. It's about being safe.
When you were talking, I didn't speak. When you were talking, I didn't speak. When the Shah, His Majesty the King, tells them to go out, they will go out, they'll go protest and everything else like that. But right now, it's not the time to do it. Bombs are dropping everywhere. You have B-1, B-2, B-52s, stratosphere bombers, F-22 pilots, F-35. You have the whole shebang
AJ,
that
you're
is going on
do you
there.
even understand what I just said? I'm not denying that. But the Majesty, what the Majesty is going to do, he's going to stay inside. But then people are not safe inside when the bombs are constantly dropping. So without boots on the ground, without some other external help, how are people
My
going
brother,
to
it's going to take some time, bro. It's been 47 years of literal terrorism. You know, like, if a stray bomb lands there, if a stray bomb lands somewhere else, like, how the hell is that America's problem? They've been asking for this. The Shah of Iran has asked for this. The people of Iran have asked for this. If you look at Goldie's face, Goldie, one of my good friends from Canada, Arvin, one of the best ones too, Skull, by the way, I have to ask you a question. Do you know Goldie, Skull?
Yeah, she was part of the parliament.
Yeah, she's one of the best. I've been talking to Goldie for the last 2 years. You know what I asked her? You know what I asked her, Skull?
Everybody asks for it.
Wait a second, my bro. You know what I asked Goldie? I said, why do you want the U.S. Armed Forces to bomb Iran? And you know what she said to me? She said, it's what our king wants, and it's about time we get freedom, and we enjoy freedom, you know? It's a terrible thing to bomb another country, but she's been protesting. She was there on Saturday, and she was like, you know what? Americans are not trying to kill our people, you know? They're trying to kill the regime. It's a great, great thing. And I hope it works, and I hope it wins no matter what, because this is a terrible thing that's happening. But freedom is at hand. For the brave people of Iran, we love them very, very much. God bless you.
Bro, you still didn't answer my question as to how we need to handle this situation, knowing the fact they're doing the same thing what they did in Gaza. They're using innocent people to shield.
Don't talk about Gaza. Gaza is a different thing, bro. Gaza is full terrorism. Gaza is a terrible.
Bro, they're not letting people to move out of the place.
Don't come here and be like, oh, they're doing the same thing as they did in Gaza. Is such a horrible, horrible place.
You're so
biased.
biased. You're so biased. You don't understand that he was actually supporting the argument. He was supporting and giving you support, and you're so biased, and you're such a disgusting human being. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. You're terrible. Your mind is a terrible place to be. The way that you can collectively condemn an entire people, your brain Spain is a terrible place. Listening to your death cult speak and the way that you speak death happily, that is what is horrible, right? At least Mr. HHH has some dignity in the things that he says. Thank you, by the way, Mr. HHH, for having some decency, some human decency, and being able to not go into this death cult-like, weird, sick, disgusting, whatever.
Damn.
Fucking HF is. You shut the fuck up. Don't
Well,
say anything.
I wasn't gonna say that. Achek
I don't
actually.
want to hear your stupid shit right now.
Well, he defended you. Achek defended you the other night and kicked me out of the room because I was making fun of you. So Achek.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were making fun of me? Why were you making fun of me? What were you saying?
I was just talking about how you're gullible. And then he's like, I won't let my lady be insulted like that. And he kicked me for your honor. So, Bima, be careful what you say about Achek. He's got your back.
You're disgusting. You're an
The
asshole. You're a fucking
problem
asshole.
still remains.
You're a fucking asshole too. Why am I even here? What the fuck am I
Guys,
even here for?
what are we?
I don't understand why you get so upset. Gaza, I don't care about Gaza, bro.
Bro, no, forget about Gaza. What I'm trying to say is.
Why do you bring up? You know what? I want to ask you a question. Why do you bring up? Why do you bring up Gaza? Why?
So the
If you
reason
listen
why
to him, he was
Gaza.
supporting you. He was supporting what you were saying.
I was supporting what you're saying.
No,
What
but
I'm
I'm
trying to
just
say
saying, like,
is
why
how we
bring
can
it up?
minimize laws. How we can minimize laws and kill the people who deserve to be killed and not the innocent people is my question. And how we can do it differently, given that we have already bombing the place, right? Now the regime is holding people hostage in the city where we are bombing, and we are not. What happened?
I thought it was me. Mr. Agent Future.
I think something happened to his phone. It has nothing to do with me. I don't remove people. I don't kick people. It's not my deal.
And terrible, sensible question. It's a sensible question. So
What is the
We didn't hear you.
What?
Mr. Agent, we didn't hear anything but
Nobody heard anything you said, bro. You were like quiet for like 20 seconds. Nobody heard anything. Nobody.
Because we're passionate at talking about how we're destroying it and we're accomplishing and succeeding in that direction. Yes, I'm not disagreeing with any of what you said, but what I'm trying to say is, and why I compared to Gaza is because Gaza also they use the people over there as human shield, where innocent people were killed, and the same thing is happening. They know that we're bombing in the terror capital, and we know that we cannot kill innocent people, so they're trapping the people in